the second season in a row, it all comes down to the final race. Round 18 of the 2014 FF1M season, and it comes to you from the Autodromo Jose Carlos Pache, more commonly referred to as Interlagos. I'm being joined by Excellite's James Whiteley.
Hey, oodly doodly.
And I suspect a slightly nervous Courtney Cass.
How diddly doodly do. And yeah, I am pretty nervous. It's been a while since I've been in this situation.
Absolutely. And the situation is this, that Sebastian Vettel holds an 8-point lead over Lewis Hamilton, and Willows hold a 14-point lead over Shake and Bake in the Constructors. The championship permutation is pretty simple for Hamilton. He needs to win. Anything less than that and Vettel is the champion. But if Hamilton does win, then a fourth would pretty much guarantee Vettel the championship. As for the Constructors, Shake and Bake need 2 cars finishing in order to stand a chance of beating Willows. And there's the map of the circuit, and 3 stops expected all around.
I just hope we don't have is that Glock moment and it comes down to the wire. Yeah. Nervous times, we've got everything crossed. Fingers, toes, testicles, everything.
Well, stranger things have happened on this circuit in the past. In Season 5 of the Masters era, Fernando Alonso was looking set to win, but pulled off on the last lap just before the Junsao corner. So, I bet you're hoping that won't happen to Vettel.
Junsao, is that which corner is that?
That's the left leading onto the pit straight.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Essentially the last proper corner. That's brutal.
Pretty much, yeah. So, Hamilton and Vettel topping both practice sessions, as you can see there. And onto the qualifying results shortly. And even though he leads the championship by 8 points, Vettel has not had a single pole position as of yet. Until now, because he is on pole position from Lewis Hamilton, so the championship challenge battle is set.
Wow, I wasn't expecting that.
There's confirmation of that. Vettel on pole, Hamilton second. Then we got Nico Rosberg third for Willows, ahead of Valtteri Bottas, who's shown a bit of improvement in recent qualifying times. Kobayashi's up in 5th place, so good effort from both Gajeras. And then we have got Fernando Alonso in 8th position, and completing the top 10, Romain Grosjean and Daniel Ricciardo. So, Constructors' battle's going to be quite interesting.
Ricciardo, he's picked up things towards the end of the season. He kind of had a rough patch where he crashed a few times, particularly when he crashed into his teammate. And since then, it took a while for him to get his confidence back. I can't imagine why he'd feel worried at all or nervous.
Since Monza and Spa, really, when he's got his act together, and coincidentally when Shake and Bake have become a bit more competitive.
And probably a little less bitchy about him as well. Anyway, sorry, I just talked over the entirety of the grid. Oh, here we go.
And poor old Excelites are down in 20th and 21st place. Let's hope it goes better for them in this, the final race of the season, in which the 5 lights are on, and then shortly 5 lights go out, and let's see who gets the best start out of the front row crew. Looks like Vettel has just about got the advantage as we go underneath the Heineken Bridge, and just about side by side with the first corner, but it looks like Vettel is going to hang on for the lead. Rounding the Curva du Sol, translating as the Sun Curve, it's Vettel from Hamilton, Rosberg, Bottas. We've got Hulkenberg, who has moved up to 5th place ahead of Kobayashi, and Verne has lost a place to Alonso because there is Alonso. Now he's going to make a move on Kobayashi for 6th position. That is a position gain for the Spaniard as we round the next series of corners up to the Ferradura, the horseshoe corner.
Yep. All 4 wheels still on Vettel's car, so that's a big green tick in my book.
Green like the Rolex sponsorship. Do we still have James Whiteley in with us?
We do. Hello.
Rounding Magulo, and then the Junsao corner. There it is. Vettel from Hamilton. And Hamilton has a bit of a slipstream as we go up the hill. And without trying to quote Jonathan Ledyard, through the Brock.
I hope you don't end up quoting Jonathan Ledyard saying there's problems here. because I want this to be nice, smooth sailing.
Nice and clean. And we've got a replay. This is Alonso versus Hulkenberg, so Alonso well and truly on the move. Started 8th on the grid, now he's up to 5th, and here's Daniel Ricciardo looking to make a move on Jean-Eric Vergne for 8th position into Desquida de Lago, and Kobayashi getting past Hulkenberg as well, so we got some drivers making positions and some drivers losing positions.
No bits of bodywork anywhere though, all clean so far.
Yeah, it was a pretty unspectacular start, really. So is that Ricciardo?
And here's Daniel Ricciardo looking to make a move on Nico Hulkenberg, and further back is that Jenson Button having a look. No, it's Kevin Magnussen having a look at Jean-Eric Vergne for 9th position. And I've split me tyres for this one. Magnussen is on softs, Button's on the mediums. And it's favoured Magnussen so far. Where is Button? He's had a bit of a poor one because I can't see him anywhere.
What position did he start?
He started 14th, but he looks a lot lower than that as Grosjean makes a move on Vergne. That's up to 10th position. Grosjean had a poor start, started 9th, and now he's back up to 10th. So he's going to try and make some positions up in this first stint.
Looks like one of my boys has made not a bad start. Looks at least I'm not 20th.
Just a little bit higher than 20th.
It's probably Raikkonen. Yeah. Nothing to get too excited about.
And this is Kevin Magnussen having a look at Nico Hulkenberg for 8th position as they go over a big bump across the start-finish line. I just saw the car jolt a bit, but not affecting Magnussen so far as he moves up to 8th position.
Is that there in real life, that bump?
I'm not sure actually, because this is an updated version of Interlagos that we're using for GP4, which has got the bright green colours. Is Grosjean? Yeah, I can see a bump, but up in.
I feel like it probably is.
I think it's a bit exaggerated though. I don't
Maybe,
think it's.
yeah.
It's like on the F1 games. Have you ever, on the recent ones, there's a massive bump on the at Suzuka.
Oh, the exit the last corner.
Yeah, so what's that all about? I don't think that's there in real life, is it?
I thought they'd fixed that on the most recent game.
Maybe they have it. It was 2018, sorry. 2018 it was there, but maybe it's not on 2020.
I think it was still there on 2019, if memory serves me correctly.
But what was that? That's not realistic, is it? I don't know why they had that there.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's something to do with... Because there was a massive one on the very first Codemasters game, wasn't there, in Monza in 2010. I think it's something to do with the way they sewed the patches of racetrack together, essentially. And they just accidentally have these random bumps, like with the barriers used to be on the F1 2010 game.
Well, that was hilarious.
The barriers are like fine, and then you hit a particular point and you just stop dead.
I know there was the invisible wall in Valencia that ruined your car.
Yeah, of course they still had Valencia back then, didn't they? God, that was a crap circuit.
Not good.
Yeah, I mean, it was... At least it had that bridge, I guess. Cool.
I suppose the last sector was alright, but...
Last sector was cool, yeah.
Yeah.
And the...
It wasn't as bad. It was a lot better circuit than Abu Dhabi, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, and tell you what, I'm not impressed by the looks of Miami and Saudi Arabia.
Well, that's Alonso up to 4th.
That was a slam dunk, was that?
Up to 4th place is Alonso, which will definitely help Willow's cause for the Constructors' Championship because, well, we got Rosberg in 3rd and Alonso 4th, and that would comfortably seal them the Constructors if it stays this way. Here's Daniel Ricciardo. He's going to try and do something about Willow's Championship challenge. And Kobayashi defending vigorously, but not vigorously enough as Ricciardo takes 6th position off of him. Now Kevin Magnussen is going to take 7th off of the Gajera driver. He won't do it into Ferradura.
Gutted that this is going to be Kobayashi's last race for at least a year.
Why? As no one signed him up, essentially. Oh no, because he just didn't. No, sorry, yeah, he didn't. He wasn't in. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what they'll be doing next season. I don't know would he drop down to FF2M, or would he go into the?
He'll be racing in the FGT3 series.
Yeah. Okay.
So we'll still see some Kobayashi at some point. But we still do have a Japanese driver on the grid next season in the form of Itsuki Yoshida, and there'll be a shake and bake driver alongside Sebastian Vettel.
Yeah, might be a little bit early, but we'll see. Ideally, I wanted to get a customer of them and buy somebody like Kobayashi for next season, but my hand was sort of forced when I ended up with 5 credits and no customers.
On board with Jenson Button as he looks to make a move on Thomas Gonzalez, and Gonzalez's car looks about as stable as Patsy Kensit's relationships, as up to 12th place goes Jenson Button at the expense of the Tornado driver.
You've got that one written down, haven't you? You got that one written down, haven't you?
No, I did not have that one written down. I was just trying to think of unstable things. As Button is now on the back of Nico Hulkenberg for 11th position, so Button is on the move.
Nice.
And that's 11th position.
All been very well behaved so far. Carl, could you imagine if a real life team boss said over commentary, "Oh, we only hired this person because we ran out of money"? Well, mind you, that's...
To be honest, it probably said almost as much.
Yeah.
It's not as bad as taking on somebody because they're actually giving you money.
Yeah, exactly.
So that won't be that bad.
Little Now TV sponsorship on the side there. I've got updated sponsorships. I wonder if those are the real life ones.
How have you got these cigarette advertisement on there, lad? West. Surely that's banned.
That's not cigarettes. That's just a direction. Oh,
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
Chandok pulling off in the Pedersen. And petulantly into the barriers and disappearing into Narnia.
Is that a gearbox? It looked like the rear axle seized. Although I'm not sure if it's...
Looked like a sudden lockup, which suggests to me there's no smoke, so you could well be right in it be a gearbox seizure. Let's see what comes up on the screen. It's a suspension problem, so somewhere in the rear axle went a bit buggery.
So is this Hamilton coming into the pits?
Is that a technical term?
By the way, Ricciardo did move up ahead of Bottas into 5th position a few laps ago.
Ricciardo's flying.
His next target's Alonso.
Well, that would help your championship chances if you could...
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really concerned about the constructors at this point. I think it's very, very unlikely that I'll win that one. I'm just hoping that I can keep it all together to win the drivers with Vettel. But Willows, it's a gimme from here in a golfing term.
Gimme, gimme, gimme your man after midnight.
Into the pits comes Hamilton, by the way, from 2nd position. This will have to be a quick one if he's going to take advantage of the undercut. That seemed quite a long pit lane, quite a long time on the pit lane speed limiter.
You've got a little weighbridge there.
That's a nice little touch. They've got the 1, 2, and 3 positions on the. It's quite it's a very recent 2019 or something. By looking by the is it Minnow? Well, I can never remember.
Mission winner. They had the Ferraris 3rd and 4th. It might be 2020 for what they were gonna do for 2020.
There was Verstappen and Albon that was being sponsored on the drivers' names on the floor.
Still could be 19 or 20, I suppose.
I try to remember who Vettel drove for in 2020. Yeah, it's Vettel and Leclerc at Ferrari during 2020.
Oh, I don't know. I suppose it's academic at this point. Right, need a good stopper, yeah. Hopefully I don't get held up by anybody. I don't think there's...
I'm getting visions of wheel nuts rolling down the pit lane.
No, someone swapped round the directions on the wheel nuts. It's those Gajera boys.
It is 2019. It's Ricciardo and Hulkenberg. They were in the same team together that year.
Yeah, they were in Le Renault.
As Fernando Alonso comes into the pits, he was running 4th, so that 7th was a bit of a false one. As shown by the exceedingly long pit lane, Grosjean comes into the pits as well.
So, where is
Hamilton? There's a vibration, Charlie. There's a vibration.
Better not. Where's Hamilton? Hamilton held up by back markers, okay.
That's Hulkenberg he's being held up by.
Yeah. Well, I say back markers, actually. That was for position, wasn't it? Because he's pitted first.
It was indeed. Vettel rejoining 6th and now Hamilton 7th, but pit stops are well and truly underway. Rosberg temporarily leads as Nico Hulkenberg pulls off the circuit. So Mitchell's proving very unreliable as he's floating.
You only saw him a second ago.
Is that one of the new technologies?
Was it transmission now, did it say?
Somewhere in the gearbox or drive shaft.
Right. I thought it said suspension for a sec. I was like, your suspension's a bit damaged when you're floating.
And there's no wheels on there.
Looks like it's standing on its own gearbox.
I do like this circuit.
Oh yeah, it is a good one.
I'm not very good at it, weirdly, though. I was like, I remember on R Factor, on F1, I don't know, it just doesn't seem to... I don't know, I've always struggled to be competitive at Brazil.
I'd say Interlagos was my best one.
Yeah, you always smashed me at Interlagos whenever we used to have our little R Factor battles. You always had the legs on me here. I just never... I like the circuit a lot, I'm just not that quick at it for some reason.
I'm going to put my neck out and say I'm alright at Sao Paulo. Okay.
I'm okay, I'm just not particularly great at it. I'm not fast, really. That's nothing. Brickles is a lot better than me.
I just remember a proper sweaty fight I had with Brickles once.
Yeah, that was a good one. I remember that one. Like you had a massive lock-up into turn 1, but you were like 3/10 up on me just from that. And you beat me at the end of that lap. And we've got some action going on. We've had Magnussen moving ahead of Kobayashi and Bottas, and now Ricciardo is up against Alonso for 4th position.
He's flying, is Ricciardo.
Yeah, it bodes well when he joins Andrew Racing next season.
Yeah, I feel like this is some sort of statement. It's a statement of some sort. I can't imagine what that might be.
Finally, the gimp masks and the shackles have been taken off him, and the lead boots.
And it's lap 27. Just about hit... We've gone past 1/3 distance now. Vettel holds a 2.3 second lead over Hamilton, and they've both got a very comfortable buffer over Nico Rosberg, who sits 14.5 seconds behind Sebastian Vettel. And then this battle for 4th between Alonso and Ricciardo. And if the two start battling vigorously, then we could see Magnussen making it a 3-way battle on board with Ricciardo.
Straight line speeds are mental in FF1M these days. I mean, that was even just in the slipstream. I think it was doing like nearly 330, and that's.
And that was indeed a vigorous chop from Alonso.
I think the AI is quite aggressive defending into that corner.
They actually seem to be, dare I say, quite well behaved on this particular version of Interlagos.
Yeah, it was defending aggressively, but not turn 1 into Singapore aggressively.
Or not the final chicane at Montreal on R Factor.
Why does the AI defend really hard there?
Well, it used to flip it. And then it used to flip itself sometimes.
Yeah, I remember that as well.
Nothing will beat Pinball Alley and Leans.
Oh, that was great, yeah. Leans. Man, there are times when I just really wish I had that, that game still. I don't have a PC anymore, but it's good fun.
Just get on eBay, get a Windows XP PC. Probably be about £3 at this stage.
I think that old one that we used to
Ricciardo.
use on Vista
Up the inside. 4th position for Daniel Ricciardo as Gonzalez suffers a suspension failure. So
he's had a rotten run of luck, hasn't he?
Yeah.
It's not like Alonso. It's not like Alonso to have to open the legs very often, but he's getting. Yeah.
I feel like it's quite apt that Ricciardo's having the race of the season.
That's an early pit stop for Vettel. Very early pit stop for Vettel.
Oh, loose wheel.
Oh. Right, that's not good. Hopefully they can integrate it into the strategy. Only the second bit of reliability for Vettel of the entire season, and it had to come now. That's pretty rotten. Hopefully it can still be a 3-stop rather than having to make it a 4-stop.
So, Whiteley, when you said that hopefully the wheel nuts are on properly before Vettel made his first pit stop,
Yeah, I was just thinking that. That was
Your commentators cursed me.
Yeah, I'm worried you.
Out of the pits in 5.5 seconds goes Vettel. Where does he rejoin? He rejoins 8th. So he lost a lot of time.
That's not good.
Ooh,
You better not.
Grosjean.
I was going to say he's
If anyone was going to grudge on you, it'll be Grosjean.
So now the ball's in Hamilton's court, because with Vettel down in 8th and Hamilton leading, then the championship will then swing towards Hamilton.
Guess we'll just have to see how the strategy plays out.
That was unfortunate, that one.
It's getting a bit sweaty, not going to lie.
Speaking of which, here's Kevin Magnussen up the back of Alonso for 4th position now, and Ricciardo's up to 3rd.
He's going backwards as Alonso, yet he's still in 4th. He hasn't pitted, has he?
Well, they're on 3 stops. Everyone has made their first pit stop at this point, except for Vettel, who's made 2 stops. And there is Ricciardo right in front of Magnussen, as here is Vettel looking to make use of some slightly fresher tyres to make his way back up the order.
Let's keep this clean, lads. Fucking hell. Sorry, that's just...
Keep it clean.
that bit of wall that was jutted out there.
I'd like to apologise for Mr. Castle's comments.
You see, this is why I couldn't make it in the big leagues. I'm no James Brickles. I can't keep it professional.
I know. I wouldn't be able to. If I was a commentator, I'm sure I'd have dropped an F-bomb accidentally at some point.
Yeah.
You know, even if it was just like, fucking hell, what's going on? You know.
I was watching the Leeds Man U game at the weekend,
that was
and
shit.
at one point it was, Jamie Carragher just went, Jesus, this game's awful.
I remember that. Yeah, I watched that one, and it was pretty god-awful.
I was expecting at least 10 goals.
Yeah, most Leeds games have been pretty interesting. I thought at one point they were getting a bit close to they were pushing it in terms of they had quite a few yellows, didn't they? Leeds.
Yeah, that's the way we roll. Alioski gets a yellow every game. Right, okay. Don't go to the outside this time, Seb.
Go in the pit lane instead.
Oh, Jesus! He had to get out the throttle there. That's not too happy with Kamui there. I'm not gonna lie.
Bit of a squeeze at rounding Curva de Sol.
Some interesting tactics going on here.
It's a bit of a carbon copy of because when Button was fighting back for his championship in 2009, he had Kobayashi to deal with, didn't he?
Up the inside of Kobayashi goes Vettel up to 7th. Next target is Valtteri Bottas for 6th position. There he is.
I've still not forgiven Hamilton for the whole interesting tactics comment about Kimi in 2018, was it?
Yeah, it's Silverstone.
Yeah, I'm never forgiven for that. I know it was a heat in the moment sort of thing, but still, it was like, you can't say that about Kimi, man.
Look at Kevin Magnussen on the move. He's up the back of Daniel Ricciardo for 3rd place now, and there's a lapped Andrew Racing in front of these two, but it's not going to impact it. Up the inside to turn 1, Ricciardo defending hard, but Magnussen is a hard racer, and he's taken 3rd off of Ricciardo. And Magnussen due in the pits this lap, so it could well be down to a lower fuel load.
Magnussen's had a solid end to the season now.
Solid. He's not yet scored a podium. He's the highest driver in the championship yet to score a podium as Ricciardo pits as well. So it's a pit stop race between the two as Vettel is now challenging Bottas. This is for 3rd position now, so while pit stops are underway again, Vettel finds himself back in championship winning position. As Ricciardo, that's an engine failure. And that means to say Willows are the Constructors' Championship, because Shake and Bake can only score a maximum of 12, and with there being 14 points behind Willows, they can't do it.
Unlucky, lad.
That's a big worry.
Ouch.
There's and that's why our car's suddenly competitive again.
And there's confirmation. Willows Racing are the Constructors' Championship for the first time in their history.
Yep, well done, Joe Willows.
Congrats to Joseph Willows.
Yeah, congrats, I guess.
Are you not excited to see where you're going to finish in the Constructors?
I'm absolutely spellbound.
This is Lewis Hamilton's second pit stop of the race, and not a lot of fuel going on board, so pretty much confirming the 3-stop strategy, as 5.6 seconds later he exits his pit box. And there's a big battle going on between two drivers going into the first corner.
It's Vettel.
It's Vettel putting a lap on Paul di Resta. Vettel back in the lead again, but I suspect on newer tyres Hamilton may just have the measure in this stint.
And Vettel may need to make another stop, possibly.
I think he will. I don't think he'd have enough. When did he pit? It was...
Everyone needs to make at least one pit stop, but it's a question mark over what Vettel does in his third pit stop.
Well, Hamilton's on like 10 laps younger tyres, nearly. So he's going to come right up to the back of Vettel. I wonder if Vettel's going to channel his inner Michael Schumacher. Read into that what you will.
What have you been telling him? You've given him some banana skins, haven't you, to throw behind him when Hamilton's close.
That pod racing scene in Star Wars with Sebulba.
With the Sebulba, yeah, where he gets his wrench out, yeah. You see, that's what you need. That's what Bottas should be doing behind closed doors at Mercedes, shouldn't he? Just like, like, bit of a, just get some wire cutters on the suspension arms and stuff. Just little pranks like that before he goes out on his quali.
Making it look like he's going down to tie his shoelaces and he just knifes the tyres.
Yeah.
On Hamilton's car, obviously, not his own. That wouldn't work very well. Right.
Oh, there's a...
Yeah, this guy needs to get out of the way now, come on.
It's the Mitchell of Sebastian Buemi, and Vettel takes him round the outside of Ferradura, and now Buemi slots himself in between the two championship protagonists.
Yeah, that wasn't very kind to your fellow Sebastian there.
Oh, at least you haven't got an Exolite around to screw you over.
Yeah, I think I'm on good terms with the X-Lite team.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, no bad blood at all.
No. Well, this is going to go well. Well, I'm hoping you've got a lot of pace in those hard tyres and you don't slow me up too much.
Yeah.
As Sebastian Buemi lets through Lewis Hamilton, and the gap between Vettel and Hamilton just 0.8 of a second as they cross the line to start lap 41. Vettel has got an Exolite in front of him. Is that Perez or is it Raikkonen? It's quite hard to tell from the distance.
It's probably Perez. I'd have thought it'd be Perez because he was behind. Yeah, it's Perez.
Nothing in it around the first sector, so it's in the second sector where Hamilton is making up the difference on his newer tyres, because sectors 1 and 3 are pretty much power sectors. Into La Rancha they go, and then the Pinerino, translated as Little Pine Tree, before one of my favourite names for a corner, Bico de Pato, the duck's beak.
Is that what it means?
Doesn't really look like a duck's beak, though.
No, and Ferradura is the horseshoe, which doesn't really look like a horseshoe, but it was named that back when they had the old 8-kilometre long Interlagos circuit.
Do you know what? I think the circuit that was underrated was Yacarapagua. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it didn't have much in the way of elevation, so...
No, but it had some pretty... It was some pretty awesome high-speed corners, though.
Yeah, I think the slowest corner was the last corner, which is still pretty quick and open.
Get out the way! Get out the way! Sorry, carry on.
Getting a bit angsty behind the Exolite, but the Exolite's lifting off the throttle and letting Vettel through.
Right, thank you,
Now we're going to see...
Sorry, as you were.
Yacarapagua.
It's where I start throwing spanners and wrenches behind him to help the Yorkshire boy out. I'll throw him at Hamilton.
Cheers, mate. Throw some spuds at him. And Yorkshire puds.
Have either of you two ever driven the Three Sisters kart circuit in Wigan?
Yes.
Nope.
That kind of reminds me a bit of Yacarapagua in its fastness.
I feel like there's no actual braking zones on that circuit once you get fully up to speed. I seem to remember... I think the last corner, I think you braked for. but the rest of...
Oh, that's... Sorry, I was just seeing Hamilton braving it round the outside of that one.
Right,
God, I was third last year.
You were indeed.
Yeah, no, that Three Sisters circuit, it's pretty much flat the entire way, or you just lift slightly. I think the last corner was the only place where you properly brake, depending on what kart you've got. Because when I went, they were a bit ropey, a bit inconsistent.
Yeah, in the Sodi corporate karts, because they're not quite as quick as Club 100s, which is what I raced on at Three Sisters. I imagine you wouldn't really need to brake in a corporate kart at Three Sisters.
No. Yeah.
It's a lot more fun in the wet than it is in the dry.
I feel like that can be said, about any circuit, probably.
Probably, yeah. And there we can see the Sector 2 tyre advantage that Hamilton's got because he's gained 6/10 over Sebastian Vettel. Interestingly enough, Vettel was quicker in the first sector by a couple of hundredths, but now Hamilton is firmly in the slipstream as they round Subida dos Boxes. And then I can't remember the Portuguese name for that final left-hand kink, but it means Bode Grandstands. Now into the Senna S, and Vettel having the measure over Hamilton, but let's see what happens as we round the Curva de Sol.
So there seems to be a bit of an inevitability about this.
You say that Hamilton's in the slipstream, but he's not really gaining, so I wonder if Gajera are not utilising higher engine modes.
I wonder, because they've had a couple of reliability issues. I wonder if they've toned it down a little bit just to make sure they finish.
Still looks pretty quick.
Whereas I may or may not have made the opposite decision.
It's interesting you mention reliability because although Shake and Bake and Willows haven't been the quickest cars compared to the Gajera and the Grosjean Pedersen...
No, I'm just going to stop you there. I know what you're going to say, and I'm going to stop you there.
Duly noted. Further back, we've got Nico Rosberg is now 14.6 seconds behind Sebastian Vettel, and Kevin Magnussen further far back. Hamilton right in the slipstream. Is he going to go the inside or the outside? Nearly in the pit lane. And that loss of momentum means that Vettel will hang on for at least another 3 corners.
Jesus, that bump is big on when you see it on the onboard. So.
There's another bump as well at the pit lane exit. Hopefully we'll get to see an onboard of somebody exiting the pits for their final pit stop. There's another one there. Vettel defending slightly, going into Desquida de Largo, and Hamilton is slipstream. The Ferradura is not really an overtaking opportunity. There's another back marker in front, which I believe is Sainz.
God, look how close he is. Right then, Sebastian, how do you play this one? Because, I mean, he doesn't need to really fight this too hard. Let's just remember what happened at the first race of the season.
It was real F1, he'd spin.
Yeah, let's... there doesn't need to be any heroics here. It's not the first corner of Sandoval.
Or the third corner at Melbourne, which was where Hamilton put Vettel into a flip. Around the outside now, the switch back onto the inside, but nearly side by side, but not quite. Vettel a little bit braver on the brakes.
What does Vettel need then? Can you be all right with third?
Yeah, he'll be all right with third. He needs 5th or 4th. I'm not 100% sure on the count back.
Oh, you've done it easy, lad. No problems at all. Nothing will go wrong.
For Christ's sake.
No issues.
Courtney's going to stop you there. You've already commentators cursed him once with a loose wheel nut.
Yeah, nothing can go wrong now. It's all in the bag, son.
Is that Glock ahead?
It is a Toyota livery, but it is science. Speaking of Toyota liveried cars, we've got Bottas in 7th, who may well come under pressure from Grosjean soon. The gap between the two is less than a second. And Magnussen's closing in on Rosberg as well for 3rd position. The gap is 3.1 seconds.
The gap here... He's under a 10th is the gap here. I feel like he's going to do it
coming
this
out
time.
of the slipstream far too soon, really.
Switches back.
Is he braver on the brakes this time? Not quite again.
No, I think you're right. I think he's definitely running lower engine settings. He just usually the Gajira has quite a lot of grunt, doesn't it? Natural grunt, yeah. And Vettel fishtailing a little bit deliberately. And his tyres are quite old, I think, at this point.
Yeah.
He's due in the pits again soon. He's only got 4 laps of fuel, so this could still work out in Vettel's favour once everyone makes their final stops, but once again Hamilton would have the younger tyres.
It does look like he is going to make it a 3-stop without too many issues.
Just about, I reckon, yeah.
Please don't do a stupid 4-stop now, I've said that.
I know Schumacher did it once, but...
well, if he did a 4-stop, you'd still come out... yeah, you'd probably come out about 5th, wouldn't you?
Yeah, the gap time loss is about somewhere between 20 and 25 seconds at this circuit.
Here we go. Is he a bit further along? Oh, he's closer this time.
He's making a right hash of this, is Hamilton.
And Vettel is due in the pits this lap.
In that battle, I don't know why, but just as they were coming into the first corner, I had a sudden urge to drink a Heineken beer. I don't know why.
Not me.
Like you'll get that joke the next time it goes around.
Well, we probably won't, actually, because Vettel is due in the pits this lap, and 22 laps to go. There's Hamilton all over the back, so he will take the lead temporarily, but he'll make his final pit stop at about, I'd say, at least 5 laps later. Magnussen has got the gap down to 2.2 seconds between himself and Rosberg, and Grosjean and Bottas still around 0.8 of a second. So out of Junxiao.
Is there going to be any shenanigans when he goes into the pit lane line, though?
Bulls tight to the inside.
No, it looks all right. Yeah.
It's probably going to be the same thing. It's probably the end of the race will probably be likely similar, won't it? Because Seb's likely to gain a bit of momentum now, but then Hamilton will pit 5 laps ago, and it'll probably come back behind him, but he'll again have slightly fresher tyres. So could be a pretty interesting. Could be quite an interesting end of the race.
Absolutely, and definitely going to the end of the race. So 3-stop strategies, and the second one was unscheduled and brought forward.
Say, well, that's a right stop, 4.6.
4.6 seconds, that's the quickest of the race so far. As Vettel exits the pits, it says 5th position, but of course everyone else has to make their final pit stop. Look for the bump. Just there.
Ooh. Right then, just bring it home, Sebi. Bring it home.
Oof, nearly got tagged by the Andrew Racing there.
Thought a commentator's cursed my own car there.
It's Felipe Massa who nearly took Vettel out there.
That would have been pretty... I'm sorry, but that would have been pretty fantastic if it had just cut to him just being absolutely like...
Sebastian
oh
Vettel out
God!
of the
I
race.
saw Sebastian in the middle of a field somewhere. God knows where that is.
Where on earth is Buemi?
He's done a Raikkonen 2012 where he's just driven off. It's actually taken that Marshall about 7 hours to run over there.
He's done a De Cesaris at 1 year in the Österreichring, where he basically went so far into the grass verge you couldn't see the racetrack.
Is that the one where he flipped it?
Yeah.
And Senna commentating on that season review, just saying, "Here's De Cesaris, small accident, light damage."
Didn't really work, that concept, really, did it? On the it was an interesting concept having the drivers comment on the races, but some were definitely better than others.
To be fair, that De Cesaris crash wasn't that big a crash. It's just flips always look more dramatic, don't they? They say.
Yeah. You don't get many small accidents at the old Österreichring. You didn't. But no, that wasn't massive. Spectacular, though.
In terms of season reviews, anything is a better concept than what they did with the 1983 review.
Oh, that was awful. Yeah, I've seen that. It's got this absolutely cringeworthy sort of like
It's like married couple style.
She comes in every now and then and just makes like, "Hi boys." It's just like, it's awful. Just making comments about how cute the drivers are, and it's just absolutely cringeworthy.
Yeah, it does sound pretty cringe.
Awful.
If I could get back to the action briefly, quickly. Here's Rosberg into the pits. Hamilton has made his final pit stop and did rejoin behind Vettel, and didn't go further than I thought, actually, so Vettel doesn't have as big disadvantage as I thought he would.
I mean, it doesn't need the race win. I suppose it is good to be ahead of Hamilton, so if he does have some sort of car failure, he can take Hamilton out on the way to the on the way to the gravel. But
Magnussen's jumped Rosberg for third, by the way. So can Magnussen get his first ever podium finish?
He might, depending on Vettel's pace at the end of this race. He might cause some troubles.
I was going to say where's Button, but he's 7th.
That's impressive, actually. He was nowhere near the top 8 for most of the race, and all of a sudden he's in 7th, having made his final pit stop.
Who's scored most points so far this year, Magnussen or Button? Is it Button?
I think it is Button, because he did have that race win at Hockenheim, but Magnussen's been very solid.
Oh yeah, I forgot you won that one.
You were commentating on that one with me.
Yeah, I was, yeah.
Championship battle soon to be resumed. It's just a second between the two, and Hamilton an enormous 1,000th quicker in Sector 1.
Crikey.
And there's another Exolite in front. Is that Raikkonen or Perez?
Oh, if I accidentally took you out, that would be the most amazing thing I've ever seen in my life.
Somehow I don't think Courtney would agree with that.
I don't know what I don't know what my reaction would be, but let's hope we don't find out.
Well, they got 12 laps to go in this 70-lap Brazilian Grand Prix.
Me just on the radio now, being like, right, get the banana skins and the bolts, and start throwing them out the back of the car.
From Singapore, Kim.
Yeah. That beep is behind you. Take him out.
And it's exactly 2/3 of a second as they crossed the second sector point. It's gone up slightly by 0.5 so I think that pretty much does confirm to me that Shake and Bake have gambled a little bit with their engine modes for this race.
Well, yeah, looking at it from a purely risk management point of view, I don't want to say it. It was a calculated risk, and it's in the previous races worked. Will it work in this race? Who knows? It hasn't worked for Ricciardo.
So you're saying that you went pretty aggressive, essentially?
Yes. It's the end of the season. Yeah.
You did what Renault used to do with the last race, with the V10, when they just put they make a special end of season. 2005 when I think BAR did it as well. They just make one special engine just for the last race of the season.
Why not? The end of the V10 era.
Why not? Yeah, exactly.
They have like a racing stripe down it to make it have more horsepower.
Everyone knows a stripe gives at least 30 horsepower.
Exactly.
10 laps to go. It's Sebastian Vettel who leads by just 0.4 of a second as Courtney's about to demand the Exolite out of the way. And the Exolite cooperates.
Wasn't as bad as Perez. Yeah. Now, stay there, please. Hold him up. God, I'm a bad sportsman.
It's pretty depressing seeing my guys resign to being pawns. It's my own fault.
And Hamilton losing 0.3 in the second sector as he gets past the Exolite, so battle once again resumed between the two.
What do you mean it's your fault, Whiteley? It's your driver's fault.
Sorry, did I say my fault? Oh, I meant my driver's fault. Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, I'm getting rid of them, which is proof that it's the driver's fault.
Yeah, you'll have that driver joining your team.
Yep.
And then A former X-Lite driver from 2013 rejoining the team.
Be nice to have some drivers that now to develop tyres as well. That's what I'm looking forward to.
So it's 0.8 of a second as they cross the line with only 8 laps to go. Magnussen still holds third ahead of Rosberg, who was 3.4 seconds ahead the last time I saw. The gap may well be coming down a little bit because Rosberg did make his final pit stop a bit later. And we're seeing who's in 5th position. I believe it is Fernando Alonso. But I'd like to see a graphic, because I'm not 100% sure on that.
We could do with one of the more modern graphics that show you all the way down to last place instead of just the top 8, because it gets difficult to see what's going on after 8th place.
I think they trialled that at one point during the 2011 season, but for whatever reason it's not there anymore.
Yeah. I think everyone has nostalgia for old graphics, but to be honest, they're not great.
AJ for Whiteley's complaining. I think you should dock him 50 horsepower for next season.
Well, couldn't get much worse.
Still with neither Horizon in the top 8 in what is their last race.
Oh, yeah.
As they're being replaced next season by Meister, then looks like X-Lite will secure 9th in the Constructors' Championship. Kimi Räikkönen's just retired from the race. With a suspension problem.
I think that says it all.
That pretty much just sums it up.
Good thing his suspension didn't fail as Vettel was alongside him.
Just like Barrichello just springs flying out into...
Yeah, God, that would not be good. Yeah.
No. God, that was such a freak accident, wasn't it?
Well,
I suppose in a way you'd think you'd think it was probably to happen. You'd think things like that happen more often, really, wouldn't you? But
yeah, when people say, "Oh, it's such a freak accident," but when you look at it from the front of the car, you can see a lot of helmet.
Oh, Nico Rosberg's just had an engine failure. Sorry to interrupt you there.
God, you maybe shit my pants there.
The mice are in the machinery now. But nothing can go wrong for Sebastian Vettel now.
Alright, just nothing silly here, Seb. Nothing silly. He's stayed behind in the slipstream. He's gone for it.
He's going for it, and Hamilton takes the lead of the race. Finally.
It's a great move. It's a great move, to be fair. And that had been coming.
Seb was sensible.
Yeah, 6 laps from the end.
Seems like a long time since I've ever said Seb was sensible there, unfortunately.
Sergio Perez has had a bit of a crash. Now, is that a reliability problem that has put him off? Yes, it was. A loose wheel.
Loose wheel.
It's a very loose wheel now.
Yeah.
There goes his hard tyre.
Well, what a season. What a season.
As on the penultimate lap, Lewis Hamilton exits the Duck's beak into Megulo. That translates to as the dive. And looking further back, we got Magnussen still in third, comfortably in third, looking set for his first career podium. Alonso 4th, and we got a bit of a battle for 5th position between Grosjean, Button, Kobayashi and Bottas. They're only separated by 2.6 seconds, so that's not settled yet.
Come on, just one more lap to hold on, engine.
4.6 seconds, Hamilton's pulled out over Vettel, but with Vettel in second quite comfortably, I'm not going to say the rest, at Courtney's request probably.
Don't worry, he's got it in the bag at this point.
If he loses 3 wheels, I still want Vettel to drive for the line at this point.
Do a Mansell and just push it down, push it past the...
Just climb up that wall there and get round to the finish. Just cut half the circuit.
Use your Joker lap.
What if your car breaks down and you steal the and you take the GPS? Well, it's the lap.
Whatever you're about to suggest, I'm pretty sure they'd spot it.
We've just seen Kobayashi move up ahead of Jenson Button for 6th position. As out of the final kink, Lewis Hamilton is going to take the win in Brazil, but we're just waiting for Sebastian Vettel to cross the line in second. If we get a shot of him, please, as Hamilton rounds it. There's Vettel, the 2014 Drivers' Champion.
Get in there, lad.
Well then, lad.
Did not think I'd come within a sniff of winning this championship.
And that's Shake and Bake's first Drivers' Championship since the 2010 season.
First with Sebi Boy as well. If it's not out of order for me to say it, he's my driver of the season.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Well, the FF1M driver of the season, not just Shake and Bake driver of the season, because it would definitely be driver of the season there.
Yeah, a good job.
Confirmation of the results: Hamilton from Vettel, Magnussen gets third, a good drive from 11th on the grid, and to take his first career podium, pretty much securing fifth in the constructors for FJR.
I'm not going to lie, when it cut to Seb driving slowly though, I had a little bit of a heart attack. I didn't realise he'd crossed the line already.
Just a plume of smoke coming out of the back.
Alonso fourth with Grosjean fifth. Kobayashi in his last race for a while takes a very commendable sixth, although he did start fifth on the grid, so he's actually dropped back a bit. Jenson Button in his last race for FJR seventh, and completing the top eight, Valtteri Bottas.
Right, let's open a can of beer. Celebrate lockdown style.
And once again, both tornadoes not reliable, with Verne having a gearbox transmission failure as well.
What fastest lap? Oh, okay. That's surprising.
So he did serve pole and fastest lap for Vettel, so it's clear that Shake and Bake became a lot more competitive, and the third fastest lap of the race for Ricciardo as well, before his engine failure.
It became a lot more competitive until we ramped the engine up to grenade setting, as Whiteley would say.
Yeah. Good stuff, lad. Well done.
Aye, well chuffed. I thought Gajira would walk that. I mean, admittedly, I think I did get a bit lucky a couple of times with some of Gajira's retirements.
Actually, yeah, I was amazed. I didn't realise how far off both the Willows drivers were. Actually, they were nowhere near it. But obviously, actually having two drivers.
Willow's the only team on the grid to have both its drivers win races.
Yep.
Yeah,
and congrats to Willows again.
Yep.
Their first Constructors' Championship.
And 7 different teams win races.
Probably come across quite Kimmy. Oh, I'm so happy. Probably don't sound it. I've just got a very dull monotone voice. It doesn't really lend itself well to commentary. So I don't know why I'm here, really.
Yeah, to win races and championships, which you have done. And that wraps up the 2014 championships. So from the three of us, we shall see you for the 2015 season.
I'll be very hungover.